Big Brother is a game filled to the brim with secrets. And with secrets comes conspiracy theories. With 25 seasons to comb through, you better believe that there are lots of questions that don't have answers to them. Was Big Brother 21 originally going to have a secret partner twist? Did Dr. Will inadvertently get Lisa or Monica cut from All Stars? Let's take a look at these and a few others as we continue to crack open all the Big Brother secrets that we can find. Here are 5 more Big Brother conspiracy theories.
This is huge. I'm on the block next to my ally, so I'm hoping this power falls into the right hands, and especially my hands, so I can make it out safe this week.
Starting things off, here's a conspiracy theory that really had me thinking about the implications of it all after I read it. And that's the theory that prior to the start of Big Brother All Stars, Dr. Will told the producers that he would only appear on the season if Mike Boogie was there too, leading to the removal of one of the women planned to be on the season in order to make room for Boogie. Going into Big Brother 7, Dr. Will was one of production's top choices to come back, which gave him a little leverage in giving terms and conditions for his return. On the live feeds of Season 7, there's a clip of Dr. Will talking to Janelle where he went in depth about how he was able to negotiate constant restructures to his contract because the producers wanted him on the show that badly. In the same conversation, Will also mentioned that Mike Boogie practically begged him to try and get him onto the season because it was his destiny. While Will didn't directly say it in the video, it's really not hard to connect the dots and come to the conclusion that it's extremely likely that one of Will's conditions for being on the season would be that Mike Boogie had to be there too. And this has been heavily rumored over the years to the point that it is just accepted as fact. However, it doesn't seem like the producers just added Mike Boogie to the original cast, and rather, they had to go in and remove someone on the cast in order to make room for Boogie. The biggest piece of supporting evidence would be the gender discrepancy on the season. There were 8 men and only 6 women, which makes it look pretty likely that Mike Boogie took the spot of one of the women on the season. But whose spot would he have taken? Well, when looking at the 4 women not chosen for the season, I tend to believe that Lisa was the most likely all-star that was booted for Boogie. But it could also be Monica, if they always planned on having 2 Season 2 reps. Either way, it's really weird that they wouldn't have taken a man off the cast in order to keep the gender balance the same. But I guess they really wanted the other 2 production men choices, Chicken George and Marcellus, so Lisa or Monica got the axe instead. In terms of theories, I would say that this is extremely likely.
And so the producers called me, and they were really aggressive and courting me over and over and over. I was like, I can't do it. I'm doing Dr. 90210. They took my contract, redid the whole thing so that I could do Dr. 90210. Then I have a national infomercial probably airing right now on my face brush. They're like, yeah, you can't do that. And I'm like, great, I'm not doing the show. Took my contract, rewrote it. I'm like, we're not doing this for anyone else. I kept making them jump through loops. You don't understand. Boogie is a big Brother fan. Rumor started of All Stars. And I was like, dude, it's All Stars. And he's like, you've got to get me on. You've got to get me on. Because it was my destiny. Like, I was robbed my season. He's like, it's my destiny to be in this game.
Mike Boogie. Congratulations, All Stars. You may go inside.
I know I've had a lot of theories about Big Brother 25, but that's because there's a lot of questionable content from the season, and this next theory might just be the most impactful one we've seen yet, if it's true. And that's the theory that the Power of Invincibility was only added into the game because the season needed to add an extra week after Luke was expelled. For those that don't know, house guest Luke Valentine was expelled in the first week of Big Brother 25 after casually saying the N-word. However, instead of that week's eviction being canceled, a vote-off still occurred, meaning that 2 people left the house in the first week instead of just 1. This, in theory, should have put the Big Brother season ahead of schedule by a week, and since one of the selling points of Big Brother 25 was that it was going to be the longest season to date, lasting a record-breaking 100 days, Big Brother would need to find a way to add an additional week to the season in order to get back on schedule and meet that 100-day quota. One way for Big Brother to add a week to the season is by having an evicted house guest return to the game, because it adds another week of gameplay to the mix and would offset the week that was lost from Luke leaving. So, the 2 things that we should be looking at as possible last-minute additions would be Zombie Week, which saw Cameron re-enter the game, or the Power of Invincibility, which saw Jag re-enter the game. However, we know that the Zombie Week twist couldn't have been a last-minute addition to the season, because that week was always planned to not have a Wednesday episode before the season even began. So unless Big Brother 25 was supposed to have 3 double evictions and they just scrapped one, which I find extremely unlikely, then the only plausible scenario would be that the Power of Invincibility was not originally planned for the season, but it was added to the game last minute in order to fill the time loss that Luke's expulsion created. This had a major impact on the game, since the Power of Invincibility saved Jag from eviction, the eventual winner of the game. So if you believe that this conspiracy theory is true, which I do for the record, then that means that Luke getting expelled kicked off a chain of events that resulted in Jag winning the game, which is a really weird example of the butterfly effect.
House guests. Due to violating the Big Brother Code of Conduct by using a racial slur, Luke has been removed from the house.
Welcome back to Big Brother. You've been voting to give 4 house guests the chance to win the BB Power of Invincibility. Jag, you are evicted from the Big Brother house.
The BB Power of Invincibility has been activated. Jag, you are safe tonight, and you have another shot at the $750,000.
Congratulations, Jag! You are the winner!
Alright, up next we have a theory that I was actually curious about for many, many years. And by many, many years, I mean like 2, because it happened a couple years ago. And that's the theory that Hayden Moss, the winner of Big Brother 12, was set to appear on Big Brother All-Stars 2, but was eventually removed from the cast due to his political beliefs. Back in 2020, when the All-Stars 2 rumor mill began gaining a ton of traction, a few names started popping up of players that were believed to be in sequester for the season. For the most part, this list was almost entirely accurate, featuring names like Janelle, Tyler, and Ian, just to name a few. However, one of the names that kept showing up on the lists was Hayden Moss, but when the season eventually premiered, Hayden was nowhere to be seen. For months, nobody knew why Hayden was on the cast one day and then off the next, especially since it seemed like he checked all the boxes for the perfect all-star returnee. But recently, Hayden joined the wonderful Sharon Tharp on her podcast, The Exclusive with Sharon Tharp, and he shed some light on the subject. He opened up about the fact that Big Brother did approach him and asked if he wanted to be on BB22, and he said yes. But at seemingly the last minute, Big Brother pulled the plug and took him off the roster. While Hayden was never given a reason as to why he was cut, he strongly theorizes that it's because he's politically too far conservative, and that was something that CBS was trying to avoid. So, while it's never going to be 100% confirmed as to why Hayden was removed from the All-Star cast, I'd say that his theory about it being because of his political beliefs is probably correct. So I'm putting this down as a probably real conspiracy theory.
They did ask me for All-Stars. And I actually said yes. And I was going to do it. And then at the last minute, they pulled the plug on me. I think I'm politically too far conservative. That's my opinion, but I don't really know. You know, it is what it is.
Up next is a conspiracy theory that, if untrue, still has way too many coincidences going on. And that's the theory that Big Brother 21 was initially going to have a variation of Big Brother 6's partner twist or Big Brother 8's rival twist, but the idea was eventually scrapped. It is very rare for a standard season of Big Brother to accidentally cast 2 people that know each other. For the most part, each season of Big Brother features 16 people that actually are complete strangers to one another. But for Big Brother 21, there was not 1, not 2, but 5 possible connections between the incoming house guests, which is insanely improbable if it was not planned for. The first one, of course, was Tommy and Christy. Christy dated Tommy's aunt for 7 years, and the two had a very good relationship prior to coming into the house. And the show even addressed this one because it was so obvious that it couldn't be hidden. The second one is another one that was briefly mentioned on the show as well, that being Kat and Holly. Kat and Holly both used to compete in pageants, which is how they knew of each other, but they also knew going into the season that the other one was going to be on the cast, and Holly even admitted that the two of them talked about it before the season began. The third one is much less known, and that's Jackson and Ovi. The two of them both went to the same college, were both involved in Greek life, both studied political science, and graduated just a year apart. While it seems that the two didn't know each other on a personal level, they at least knew of each other. So, right off the bat, that's 3 pairs of connections. The other 2 are much less noteworthy, but still worth talking about. The 4th one was that Holly actually knew of Jackson through a mutual friend the 2 shared, giving the 2 of them another connection, and the 5th one was that Kat knew the supposed-to-be player Jenna Jackson through Dallas cheerleading circles before Jenna was eventually cut from the cast, making that 5 sets of connections going into the season. Do I think that production planned a twist where some of the house guests knew each other but decided against it? As much as the evidence makes it look like this was intentional, I genuinely don't believe that the casting team had any idea that anyone knew each other, and they just did a very lazy job of making sure that nobody knew each other. If you're gonna have this twist but then scrap it, why would you keep in all the players that knew each other? And if this was a twist that you were going to try and do, why would you pick 2 people like Jackson and Ovi who don't even personally know the other one? As cool as it would be to have this theory be true, I really don't think it is. And I think the show tried to haphazardly work it into the season once they realized they wouldn't be able to cover up their mistakes.
I see Christy Murphy walks in the door. She dated someone in my family for the last 7 years.
Hi!
I'm telling you.
Nice to meet you. I'm Christy.
Holly, I mean, you 2 seemed like final two, so that was all a sham?
No. Surprise, we all know each other.
Hey, you said Tennessee?
Yeah.
Where from?
Franklin. UT?
Yeah, I just graduated, man.
When?
Literally May.
A connection with someone that went to the same school as me is a big bond.
Hey, some Tennessee boys.
Conspiring bitch.
And lastly, we have a classic conspiracy theory that has been the talk of the town for years now. And that's the theory that Big Brother 19 was in fact rigged for Paul. Now, there is a lot of possible evidence to back up this claim. For starters, on night 1, Paul entered the house as the only returning player, got immediate safety from the night 1 eviction, was allowed to hold one-on-one sessions with literally every single house guest, and then gave out safety bracelets to 8 of the new players. This instantly put Paul in the good graces of half the house, but on the other hand, they had to put the other half of the house in jeopardy, so maybe there's an argument that this wasn't that much of an advantage. So, let's move on to the next example. The fans got to vote for one of the players in the house to receive an advantage. An extremely overpowered advantage, in fact, as it was total immunity throughout the next 3 evictions. While yes, technically any of the house guests could have won the fan vote, let's be realistic. It's week 1. Of the 16 possible house guests, the fans have known 15 of them for about 3 days, while they had gotten to see the other one, Paul, for the entirety of the 42-episode season the prior year, and Paul was the main character of the first couple of episodes this season. So yeah, this seems pretty set up for Paul to sweep the fan vote, and it seemed like an oddly convenient way for the producers to ensure that their sole returning player would remain in the game for at least the first month. And then, of course, there's the fact that Raven was a massive Paul fan going into the season and had even posed together for a photo beforehand, which would give Paul an even bigger advantage in the game. None of this is to even mention the fact that fans have theorized for years that Big Brother purposely cast as many players with a follower mentality in order to make it easier for Paul to rally numbers behind them and steamroll through the game. When you look at all the evidence, it looks a little damning, although I don't necessarily buy into the Raven stuff or the casting follower mentality people. But even without those, it seems super apparent that the producers knew what they were doing by having a fan-voted 3-week immunity advantage when most of the audience didn't even know anybody other than Paul. So I definitely think that this conspiracy theory is valid.
Sorry I'm late.
I was so happy to see you walk the door. I was like, yes. I loved you in your season. Keep me around and I'll work for you.
Congratulations, Paul. America has chosen to tempt you with the pendant of protection. Accept this temptation and the pendant will protect you at the next 3 evictions.
And there we go. Another 5 theories in the vault. I think that puts us at 31 theories in total. And spoiler alert, I'm still not done. I've got at least 10 more theories in the tank. So I'm sorry if you hate this series, because it's never ending. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, consider subscribing. I, of course, need to give that extra special shout out to all of my YouTube members and patrons who all confirmed with me that Lisa and Monica were robbed from All Stars. And, as always, here's a clip for you on your way out.
I think that was easy for me to make it to the end of that game. I think a lot of people look at me and say, oh, she just rode coattails. And I did. I'm very grateful for the coattails. It was a fun ride.